At this time, I'd like to ask if Chief Guinness, former TCC president, could come up to the stage and also bring Mary. So today marks a really important transition. In our history of TCC, we've only ever had 4 first traditional chiefs who were appointed to serve the entire region. The late Chief Andrew Isaac, the late Peter John, the late David Salmon, and the late Chief Don Honea Sr. Each of these individuals lived a lifetime of service to our people that was worthy of the distinct honor of being appointed for life as first traditional chiefs of TCC. In that role, they teach us, they guide us, they show examples of how to govern and how to live according to our traditional values. Today, we are here to welcome a new first traditional chief to the sacred role. And to help to do that, I would like to ask former TCC president and current traditional chief of Gwich'âjê, Steve Guinness, to say a few words.
Thank you, Shalakne. It's truly an honor for me to be asked to be part of the ceremony here. But before I say a few words about Trimble, I just wanted to share a few words about Chief Donald Honea. He said to me one time that leadership is tough business. And some people can be downright rude. And he said, as long as you know in your heart you're doing the right thing, you're okay. I always remember those words. And he was speaking from the heart. He wasn't just talking. And he said that to me during the time that Chief David Salmon passed away at his home in Chalkitzik. So I carry those with me. I always remember his words. And it's true. Leadership is a tough business. But like he said, as long as you feel down deep in your heart that you're doing the best you can to serve your people, you're all right. I've known Trimble since I was a little guy. And I happened to have been born in 1950, when a lot of our elders were still with us. And I've learned through them what it means to be Dinjiju, Indian. They taught the values to us, the values under which to operate. And Trimble continues to advocate those values, working together, lifting each other up, being united. And I've witnessed that through the many years I've been in the ranks of the Tanana Chiefs Conference. Many times I sat where you're sitting as a delegate representing my village. And you know, there's times when I came to convention that things didn't go the way I wanted it to. But one thing I was taught was respect the decision of the people. So I come out of here with that. I carry that out of here with me. that a decision has been made, I'm to respect it. So it's really an honor for me again to be here with Trimble and his wife. They've been married for 67 years. Think about that. That's a long time. And they've been lifting each other up through all that time, giving each other strength, even through difficult times that they have gone through. And the advantage I have is I understand the language. And so when him and I are talking, very seldom would you hear us speak in English. And I take his words. I listen to his words. So for all of you out there, our traditional chiefs have always had a message. If you just listen. Chotoki, they tell us in our language. That means listen. And they always have a message. The 4 previous traditional chiefs have always had a message for all of us, if we would just listen. And a lot of the time, it's about working together and supporting each other and respecting each other. That is what has sustained us all these years. So Chief, Tejan and Jisholi, Tom, I'm happy for you. Chief never say, I can just Teja that Shotran Lidonja. We're happy that you've been made the chief. Naja Nichin Isaac in Hida. No Ross Kidonja. When you speak to us, we hear you. That Teja Kokun Tree Gohia Gasuntai this year. I know that you went through a difficult time this year. Mukachi Tatsaksa Nankinari Shidonja Chief. We all stand behind you, Chief. That Gutlechi Ninja after a while, when we're done, we're going to say a prayer for you. So, Chief, Naata, Kakwadat no Haoli. May God be with you and your wife. Jarapat Sigrid Icha. That's about all I'm going to say for now. So, Chief, we're really happy for you, and we look forward. We look forward to your leadership of our people. And one other thing, he's a spiritual man. You all know that. That's what guides him. That's what gives him strength. And we need that in our lives. We really need that in our lives. And I think we're very fortunate to have somebody that understands the culture, our values, and is also spiritual to lead us into the next years to come. I think we've been very fortunate. So with that, I'll leave it there, and if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and give them their gift. Mm-hmm. So, Chief, I'm going to give you a gift, you and your wife. I'll even open it for them. This is, I want to present this to him on behalf of the Fairbanks Native Association. And so Chief, we have a chief necklace for you here. I also have a stipend, $1,000 stipend. And for your wife, like I said, I know that you and your wife are going through a difficult time. And I hope this will lift you both up. They've been neatly wrapped and I'm just throwing these back in there. Sorry, staff. Okay, I guess I might done. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. That's it.
Masicho, Steve, appreciate that. One of the things that the elders shared with me is that they really wanted this process done in a traditional way. So I'm thankful to be able to call upon people like Steve to be able to help with that. I got to say the cross was made by my sister, Connie Newman. She worked pretty hard on it. So I want to give her some credit. Okay, at this time, I'd like to invite the first chief of Denakanaga, the Reverend Dr. Anna Frank, and Executive Director Sharon McConnell, if you'd like to come up to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. As I'm speaking as an elder, sometimes you have to be reminded all the time as you grow in age. And so being here is an honor. I've been working with Trimble almost since the day I got ordained. And so it's an honor to be here and still be standing with him. And I would like to say, especially to the young people, take to heart, as an elder, we're sitting here trying to be your leader, to look up to us elders. And I could say this, I don't think too many of you young people have come to us elders for that advice. We sit and wait for you to come and say, what was it like when you were growing up? I told a story to my grandson the other day. Said, this time of year was the time we moved to a spring camp. And my parents would wake me up and get me ready. And they say, you start walking. I was just a little girl. Start walking, we'll pick you up. I don't ever remember them picking me up, but I know they did. And it's stories like that we remember and try to pass that on because we went through the hard times already. And now we're your teacher. Please come ask us if you're having a hard time. We're the ones that's passing on our legacy as elders. You don't know them. You think you do. But our young people live by Robert's rules of orders. That's your tradition. Us, we live differently. We think differently. Go to your elders more often. I tell them, Sharon, we have to have a culture camp for elders. We have to learn how to become elders. We don't know how. I never considered myself an elder until my family passed on. Then I had to step into that shoe. Let's start doing it right. I'm teaching my 12-year-old great-grandson of what it was like for me and what he is to expect. They won't remember the stories now, but when they get older, they'll remember. So young people, start using your elders. Every organization in the village should have an elder. I call young elders lunch elder. We're so happy to turn that, what's the state? You go to lunch. Us new elders were happy for that age. We get to eat with our elders. But you have to, from there on, begin to think differently. It's an honor to be here. I respect this man. But more so, I respect his wife because she's the one that holds him up when he gets tired. She's there to remind him all the time. And that's the way unity is. To circle each other and hang on to each other. It's an honor to be here. I have a gift for Trimble. Always remember a story when they first start ordaining women. And I said something to Trimble because we always respect the older priests. And it was Mary and I, she's Chalkitsik, and I said something, oh, gee, I was worried about working with his dad. And he say, oh, my dad, he say, he just think you and Mary is just like little Jesus. I heard Trimble the other day say, I could still go out in the woods. So we're giving him new moccasins. He could jig in there, I think. And we're proud to say that his sister made this. Florence made this. Thank you. Bassett. Oh, I forget my grandchildren always teach me a Forticon language. Masicho.
So I just want to say, as Executive Director of Tanana, it's such an honor when our elders gather for our meetings because the wisdom that they share and the knowledge and the directives too of what they would like to see for this region. And we just had a meeting last Friday and I'll be going over some of the comments that they made and they wanted to share with you when we do a presentation later. But I just want to say to the family of Chief Honea that Tanana really misses your father, our leader. And we also want to welcome in his new role as our first chief, Trimble Gilbert. They both possess the calmness, common sense, the wisdom, and the knowledge that we all need as a Native community in our region. And it's just such an honor. And we look forward to working with our first chief in the coming years and also selecting a second chief. And I'll get into more of that at our presentation later today. But thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tanana. We will now ask members of the Arctic Village Council and the Vigneti Village Council to come up. We also have a presentation for our chief. So as they're making their way up, many of you probably know, but Trimble is actually my uncle. My mom is his younger sister, and he has long served in leadership. He was our chief of Arctic Village for many years, and he's been our traditional chief for probably even longer. And so our tribe wanted to make sure, Curdy, want to come up? Wanted to make sure to mark this special occasion. So we have a gift on behalf of the Vigneti Village Council and the Arctic Village Council, and I'm going to let, if any of our chiefs here, or Carlos, you want to say a few words? So we have Leonard John, second chief of Arctic Village Council, Paul Trick Jr., first chief Vigneti Village Council, and Carlos Norman, who's a council member of Arctic Village Council. We also have Curtis Gilbert, who's another council member and also Trimble's grandson. So we'll let Carlos say a few words and we'll do this presentation. And Tanya Garnett is, she works for our council as well.
Good morning. Asked me to say a few words about Trimble. Trimble is a really spiritual man, a guiding spiritual man, and teaches all of us back home. We were growing up in Arctic Village. There wasn't a time where I was down because of him. He taught us, he comes to school, he teaches us all kinds of cultural ways of living. It is an honor to even hear that he's becoming chief. And as a young man, it's a privilege to be sitting up here talking about him. So thank you, Trimble, for all the guidance, the love, and the knowledge that you've given me and all the youth growing up in Arctic Village. Love you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Leonard John Otterbuch, second chief. This is my about a couple of years in to speak about Trimble. as a young man, we see him driving by in the morning with a load of wood, gun on his back, an empty sled, and a couple hours later he comes back, and it's a big motivation for all those young men up there, especially younger ones. And yeah, he's been going out there and being active. And I just found out not too long ago, he's my godfather. Yeah, I'm very honored. Just since I was a little boy, I've seen he's been a reverend and a good leadership, a lot of wisdom he gave us. There's a lot of speeches in our council and a lot of guidance and very good words, and so many cannot explain. Thank you.
Woohoo, Trimble. Tanya Garnett. My name is Tanya Garnett. I work with Arctic Village Council and the Native Village of Vinitai Tribal Government, as well as Vinitai Village Council. And growing up, we grew up with very strong elders in Arctic Village, as in many of our communities. And Trimble was one of them. And we've been very fortunate to have him. He's always guided us with love, tradition, culture. He always brings us back to love and the church and to love one another. He raised us to, he always said to think of each other as brothers and sisters. And so that, created a base where we're very close. And he taught us about respect. And he always encouraged us to go to church. He does our church services in our Indigenous in our language. And Grandma Mary has always been there. She's always been there for all of us. She's a very loving person that's always supported all of us. And we're very grateful to be here today to share in this moment. We're very proud and we're very humble people, as you can tell with Trimble. And we love you, Trimble and Mary. Masi.
Okay, at this time, we're going to ask that Trimble's grandson, Curtis, present him with a chief's necklace on behalf of our 3 tribes from Arctic and Vinitai. Okay, thank you. Thank you all. We have another few presentations. At this time, I'd like to call up Chief Rhonda Pitka with the Beaver Village Council.
Good morning, I'm Rhonda Pitka, I'm Chief of the Village of Beaver. I asked Arlene Pitka, my second chief, to come up here and do this, but she made me do it. So this is my youth delegate, my student, William Fisher. He's also from the Village of Beaver. His mom is Rebecca Fisher. We're honored today to present this to Trimble and to Mary on behalf of the Village of Beaver. My grandma, Elsie Pitka, was really good friends with Trimble and Mary. And when I was growing up, we would always go over there to their house. And she taught us, when we go into somebody's house, it was either Arctic Village or Vinitai, you always have to eat. And my grandma loved to visit. So every house we would go to of all the elders, we would sit there and we'd eat a full meal. Man, by the time I got to the end, I was like, I can't even hardly move. I was only a little kid. And my cousin, my older cousin, she told me, you're only supposed to have a couple bites. you're going to be visiting all day long. So by the time I got to Trimble and Mary's house, we'd usually be fast asleep on their couch, but Trimble's been a major part of leadership in our region for a very long time. One of the most important things I learned about leadership in Arctic Village was that if you were going to do something, then you would always consult with Trimble. You'd always ask him first, you'd run it by him quickly, and he'd say yes or no. So there was always a lot of that kind of consultation. My grandma can't get around anymore, but when she still traveled, she would always go visit all the time. And she still asks about them sometimes. Thank you for your service, Trimble.
All right, thank you, Beaver Village Council. At this time, I'd like to call up, I believe Doyon has a presentation as well. President CEO Aaron Shutt and Board Chair Chris Simon.
Good morning. My name is Chris Simon. I'm the chairman of the board for Doyon Limited. I originally grew up in Hoosley. I was born and raised out in rural Alaska. And to stand up here in front of you is an honor and a privilege. I'm grateful to be here. And it's also, I'm really honored to have Trimble here. Just growing up out in the village, you look at another person, you could tell that man has been out in the woods. He raised his family out in the woods, and he spent a lot of time hunting and trapping. You could just tell that. When I was growing up, when the men would go out into the trap line, bring home whatever they caught, that was a respectful thing to do. We kept an eye on them when they would come back, whether it was by snow machine, whether it was for the day or for days at a time out in the woods. They would come back. People were happy to see them. And just by standing here, I could see, like I mentioned, I could see that Trimble spend a lot of time out in the woods, and that is very respectful. We have to honor that. He's a traditional man. And I heard a lot about wisdom. Talk with him. Anyone could talk with him and he will be happy to share his wisdom with you. He's a wise man. And the respect that he earned and that he deserves and the leadership that he has, we are behind him 100% at Doyon. And so on behalf of the board of directors of Doyon Limited, it is an honor to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Aaron Shutt, President and CEO at Doyon. It's really great to see everybody in person. It's been a long time. I appreciate being here this morning. As was mentioned earlier, we've only had 4 other traditional chiefs in our region. It's a very powerful tradition that started 50 years ago at the time of Angsa, actually. It's something that binds our region together. The rest of us are just youth compared to our chiefs. Our wisdom is small compared to our chiefs. The life experiences that they have compared to us are so much greater. and the opportunity to learn from them as well. And that's one thing in my short time at Doyon, being able to interact with our traditional chiefs is so important. We learn. I bet if you ask this man, you know, in his mind about his part of the region, you could show him a picture of a lake or a bend in the stream and he'd know where it was. I know that from spending time with some other people who really know the land. And that is who we are. We talk about that all the time. So now our chief has the burden of learning our whole region. So we need to, let me back up. One of my good friends who's passed away, I used to always say, you know, where I'm from, God's country. And he used to say, well, now the whole region, you got to say it's God's country. You got to learn about the whole place. They're all your people now. And that's where our traditional chief, even more importantly, that's their role, leading all of us, giving guidance to each chief of our villages and the delegates. And they do that in my experience. They show up at a lot of different events all over our region and learn from and share with all the different subcultures that we have in our region. So on behalf of Doyon, which we share the region with TCC and Danakanaga, we wanted to present Trimble with a gift here today. We'll probably talk to him a little bit more on Friday at our annual meeting as well, but just acknowledge this important transition in our region and the leadership he's shown for many years and the leadership he'll show to our region for many more years. On behalf of Doyon, thank you for the opportunity to present the gift this morning.
All right, thank you so much. We have also on behalf of Tanana Chiefs Conference a presentation, but I'd want to open it up to see if there are any other tribes or organizations that have something. Okay, I see Tanana.
Good morning, everyone. I never really met Trimble Gilbert before. When I went to the Naga meetings, I knew who he was. So I'd like to introduce myself to him. My name is Lois Huntington. My parents are the late Lee and Marion Edward. And we have a gift on behalf of our tribe made by, it's a chief necklace. And I asked, should I put it around his neck or leave it in the scarf because it looks pretty, his neck is looking pretty heavy.
So Julie Roberts Heislip, second chief of the native village of Tanana. And I've known Trimble and Mary for many years. I had the opportunity to go to Arctic Village one year and I got to stay with them. And it was such an honor just to spend time with them at their house. They fed me and they just took good care of me. And I'll always treasure that memory. But, you know, music is a part of Trimble's life too. And when he travels with Bell Nicholson to teach our kids music, and everybody, I was watching the jig dancing the other night on the Facebook, and just seeing everybody happy and getting together again, I think really makes people feel good now. And I'm really happy to see us gathering up once again. But Mary is an important part of Trimble's life here, and I recognize that. And before I came up here to the meeting, I decided to make myself a pair of new slippers. But I'm going to take those slippers off, and I'm going to give them to Mary. So as a sign of my love for her. So I'm taking off my slippers, and I'm going to give them to Mary, because she really deserves, our love and support for showing our love and support to Trimble. So anabasi.
Wow, those are beautiful, Julie. Thank you to the Native Village of Tanana. At this time, Chief Nancy James of Gwich'ajeh, I believe, is on Zoom and would like to offer a few words.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chief. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Out of respect, take a moment for our chief. But before I do, Dr. Stern, I'd like to acknowledge the historical support, courage, determination from Don Honea. I cannot speak. And if you would give me a moment, I'd like to acknowledge him. I didn't have time earlier because I wasn't connected, but I just want to say, out of respect for our people, together, united, we could do it. That was his last words to me, because I happened to bump into him with our medical appointment over at the clinic. And I believe a week later, he went home. But he said, when we stopped outside the clinic and we spoke, that's exactly what he said. Don't give up. Continue to work for your people no matter what. You get back up, you continue to work. Him and I, we have served together in Doyan, in a lot of other places in the school districts. And we both remember that. But I want to remember him, his humbleness, and his smile, and always his encouragement of one word that just lifts you up. And to me, that's that smile. It's a love of God that he carries, and he was not ashamed of it. And today, as we continue on that path, I'd like to also say, we remember all our traditional chiefs, our chiefs, Isaac, David, Salmon, Peter, John. And then now, as we carry on that torch, I know our chief, out of respect, will keep us with prayers together, because none of us were here because we're sit there, and it's only through our God that sits us there. The time to leave is the time to leave. We are not our own. And many of the speeches and history that we remember to our young people today as the chiefs, as they carrying on that torch, to remember always, without Ecuador, you can't do nothing. And that's what many of my elders have taught me. Ecuador Ekwadat Onjashiki. And that's from the heart. And today, it's a privilege. I know with courage, determination, and the love of God, that for Tanana Chiefs, it will continue, Doyan, because we have responsibility as leaders to be good stewards for our land, for our resources, for our fishing, and most of all for water. It's been given to us. And it's a privilege for all today, for all our young people taking that lit, that torch to carry it on. Continue to carry that torch for your people. No matter how small, how large your community may be, remember that we are one. And you have taken on that torch and that lit, not by yourself, but it's given to you by our Lord. And we must learn to respect and to ask for help, to be humble, to say, to ask our elders, because our elders are there. They walk that wisdom. They have been in that wisdom. And to carry on that path, that straight path, not to the left or to the right. We must be able to be humble to ask for help. And I just like to say, Masit Cho Shalaknai. Ikwata no Hauri.
Winkle-Masit, Chief James. Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask if Trimble's family would like to come up. He has a number of his grandchildren here, and also our elder advisor to the E-Board, Peter Damaski, and Chief President Ridley. If you could come up, we'll do the presentation of TCC's honoring.
Trimble. In my short time as president of TCC, we've had some good conversations and you've given me great guidance, and I really want to thank you for the guidance you've given me so far. Should I give them a necklace?
Okay. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Peter Damaski. I'm from Nolato. I'm also running again for the elder advisor on the TCC board. So vote for me. You've already heard enough platitudes and everything concerning Trimble. I admire Trimble. He's been a good friend of mine for years. So I don't have much to say. You've already heard it all this morning. I do want to say I have short hair because my wife quit running her hair through her fingers through my hair. So I got it cut off. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, Trimble, on behalf of Tanana Chiefs Conference, if you please stand, we have a gift for you. Do you want to stand? Yeah. He said it's getting too warm for him.
We'll make sure to keep you warm.
I don't got no something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay, we also want to take this opportunity to recognize his wife, Mary. My mom used to always talk about how in our region, when a chief was elected, his wife was also part of that, and she became the chief of the women, and they worked together in that way. And that's why our people have always been so strong and had strong governance. And so we want to acknowledge Mary for all the support she gave Trimble over the many years to our community. So on behalf of Tanana Chiefs Conference, we also have a pair of slippers. So now she has hard bottom slippers and soft bottom slippers, so she can jig as much as she wants. Yeah. Okay, we're going to have Steve Guinness add a few words, and then I'd like to ask Arctic Village and Vinitai to prepare. We're going to sing one of our songs for him. So if you guys could start to come up, we'll have our drum up here.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to tell the chief, I'm sure he's getting hot. You know, he's got all these blankets on him and he got all these chief necklaces around his neck. I was just telling him that, you know, it's not necessary for him to keep all that on. So that's why I came up here. I was getting a little concerned. He's overheating. He's got probably about 20 pounds of chief necklace around his neck. So she plays. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I just spoke to them. We need a gift.
Okay, Masi. First Chief, you want to say a few words?
We'd like to welcome you to this convention again this year, each one of you, and all the chiefs and former chiefs and the elders, and some of our people aren't here, like kids, young people. Those are the people who want to see what's going on, but then they're probably watching it in the TV. So first of all, I'd like to thank you for my wife and I, we have difficult time not too long ago. But we Day and night, we have phone call for 3-4 days. All these people all over Canada, and, everywhere in our regions, and even outside of our regions, and they support us. So we're not, we're getting down. I could feel it. But then I know I can feel better if I come over here to see each one of you and one by one. And I found out how much we need each other at all the time. So, kind of, first of all, I'd like to say, mention important things and work for your heart. Take care of your hearts, including myself. In heartbeat of our state of Alaska, we're all breathing together, normal. That means we have to take care of ourselves and we take care of others, especially the young people today. In every community in our region, or either sometime outside of our regions. And I've been involved with a lot of things in our state of Alaska and even Canada. I get to know them for many, many years, and they keep calling me, speak to our people on the air. So a lot of elders want to hear something they want to hear. So I try my best to do that. So this time we'll pass about a little over years, and we're something that separates us. So my wife and I have been in home for more than years, and we didn't get to the public place, and then we miss every one of you. And so now as we're here, the reason I want to be here, it's in the past. It's good, but we have to go forward like we did in the past. Listen to each other and respect for one another. And their leadership position is very important in elections too. So our kids watching us, they understand what's going on the TV and a lot of other things. They learn every day from us. We are the parents, and we have to work with them more and more now because we don't know about the next few years. I don't have to worry, but then I'm kind of worried all the time. My wife and I, we talk about it. We want to go forward together. Other day, I talked to Brian. You said you got to put on your snowshoe. Heavy snow out there. Many years ago, Chief, that's not real different than today. Mary and I, we went through part of it. Snowshoe is very important to break trails to all the people follow them. But we can help Brian and other chief, your own chief in every community. There's a lot of things we learn from other cultures, and we try to use it among ourselves. I don't think we need, it's a lot of things are good, but some of them is not good. So we don't have to copy them. The traditional way is a long time ago when I was a kid. Every year we have elections. And they have celebration, big celebration, dance, drum dance, potlatch for almost a week. And then before they go back to their own camp, certain place, there's good fishing place, hunting place, because they can't stay one place because well, it's going to be hard for us. So last meeting, if they call meeting, they want everybody to come. They don't want nobody left behind out there. So Chief said, now that before we all gonna go back to our place, make sure many of us people, we always have problem with one another, some people not getting along with each other. But Chief and Council said, tonight meeting is for forgiveness, forgive each other. That was good meeting. And we have, so big circle, and then shake hands with one another, every one of us. They don't want to have problem with each other. All the problem we want to leave behind. Even bad friends, they come together and shake hands. So everything is just better and better. And before they going back, separate, and they good friendships and become one family before the next ceremony. I remember this, so today, this week, I want each one of us, maybe we have problem, politicians, politics, and we should forgive each other and go forward without that, something we don't need. We don't have to forget about it. So it's going to be more easy for us to survive before next year. So we all know that we lost a lot of people in the past. My phone call will just keep ringing sometime midnight. Even that cold weather, I just jump off the bed and I have to answer the phone. People ask for help. So remember, and we work together as a teamwork. So slowly, a lot of things are changed now. Number one is that worries me, worry us, the Yukon River. Thousands of years, people lived along the Yukon, all the way down to the Yukon Delta. A lot of good fish we've been eating. We share with one another. I like fish. I know I'm getting fish from the Eugene place. He's no lotto. This year, not too much. When you eating your own food, you're happy and strong. So my wife and I, we just cook traditional food every day. Our children, grandchildren come around and we feed them. We're 86, but we're still strong and we're still work hard for my people. I'm still go out, I'm 86, but I'm still go out, knock down a lot of trees. Before cold weather, I know the cold weather is coming. Muskrat told me that's going to be cold. Around November, October, I see them going out, get wet, and then fox muskrat house. You know, before the cold weather, they fixing the house. You could see it. I told my wife, "Don't be cold winter." Muskrat tell me, so I better get ready. So even though I have a problem, sometimes I have a leg problem. I'm strong, but I have problem with my leg. Sometimes just by myself up there, I fall back on the snow. I lay down, and I fall other way. I just having hard time to get up. So once I get rest, and then what I'm doing over here, I jump out, get up and jump, go back to work. So this is the way I try to help myself, traditional way. So someone help us to be strong yet. And we know, I told them that we are a role model for the young people. And so whatever we tell them, they do it because they know we are just like father and mother. There's a lot of orphans and single people. We love them, every one of them. Another thing is I used to make them happy with fiddle music everywhere I go. Me and Bill Nicholson, we make them happy. And then I talk to them. Like Carlos, he was up here this morning. Carlos is he's my good dancer. He's my best dancer from Arctic. And he told me, I listen to you a lot of time. I listen to you a lot of time. I was surprised. So Mary and I, we thank every one of you and your family and your own community. We want to visit sometime, but then it's getting hard for us, but we will. And so I'd like to thank every one of you. And I keep praying for you all the time, to all my people. Even Ukraine, problem. I sit in the morning by myself and I pray for all that. So I can't say we're gonna try, but we've been trying all our lifetime. We don't know how much time we got, but we want to be with you. So I'm glad to see all my friends. You are very important. I know I'm very important. So respect one another and go forward again until this coming year for the great other generation behind us. So thank you very much for everything. God bless you.
At this time, I'd like to recognize former President Spud Williams, and then I'd like to ask Chief Anna if you could come up here. We're going to end this ceremony with a prayer for Trimble and blessings upon him, his wife, and his family.
As a traditional chief, you're sitting there listening to his words. Listen very closely, because all of our traditional chiefs have been giving speeches over the years. And if you listen, these are our culture bearers. This is where we learn, by listening to them very closely. I served with Andrew Isaac as president for 9 years. The education that he gave me, I could not have gotten anywhere else. You can't Google that kind of education. You have to listen closely. Our kids nowadays push the buttons. Push the buttons. You can't get that from anywhere but here. These are the ones that give us that education. We have to watch out for our culture. I saw our newspaper this month. Apply for money to take care of our children and dependents while we do subsistence activities. What the heck kind of culture is that? Take our kids to the berry patch. Take our kids to the fish camp. Why do we need to pay somebody to take care of our kids while we do our own culture? Doesn't make sense to me. Is that culture? No. He wouldn't request that. He's going to take his grandkids to camp. That's what we should be doing. And as a last item, how many centuries have our chiefs performed with no compensation? We can give them blankets and beads, but this is what we should be giving them. Money. It takes money today. I would suggest that this board set a wage for our traditional chief, $50,000, $60,000 a year, so that they have the economic freedom to travel amongst us and teach us. Masicho.
Okay, at this time, we have Chief Reverend Dr. Anna Frank to lead us in prayers and blessings.
This morning, I said sometimes we have to be reminded of what we need to do. And I was going to bring a necklace this morning for Mary, and I forgot. So I'm taking my necklace and giving it to her. Thank you. Okay, let us pray. Creator God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for an opportunity to lift up our elders. We thank you for this meeting. We pray we open our hearts and our minds to listen to your word that will be spoken today. For our children, our grandchildren, give us that wisdom they need. Help us to come together and be united as you have taught us from the very beginning. We thank you for your strength, your goodness, and your teaching and your blessings. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.